Okay, hi. I am going to give you a very, very brief lesson on color. And you're going to have a PowerPoint you can look at as well as two handouts. Here's the color wheel. It's very, very basic. You have primary colors, yellow, red, blue. If you mix primaries together, you get secondaries. Yellow and red give you orange. Yellow and blue give you green. Blue and red give you purple. And again, if you mix the colors that they make, again, you get tertiaries. The main thing is to remember your primaries are red, yellow, and blue, and your secondaries are green, purple, and orange. Okay. One thing that's cool about the color wheel is that if you mix any colors opposite each other, you're going to get a deep, rich gray. Artists studied this, and they knew this. They came out with color wheel books, popular ones, in the 1800s. So that's just a basic idea. Now, we all know color. We have it every day in our lives. We use it every day. But it has values, and it has temperature, and it has intensity, and it has texture. It can get really complicated. So you have this handout sheet which tells you about that. This is just a small little chart explaining it. A color can be very, very light. It's called a hue. The color of the color itself is called hue. Temperature, is it hot? Yellows and reds are usually considered hot. Blues and purples are usually considered cool, along with greens. So it has the color name, it has a temperature, it can be intense, it can be a very, very bright red, or it can be a grade red. It can be a light red, or it can be a dark red, that's called value. And you can also put the color on thinly or thickly. So the variations are incredible. Your basic ideas are right here on this sheet, which you can download. But another thing that makes color complicated is that it is relative to the other color that you put it next to. And it's relative to the shape and size of areas that you put it next to. For instance, it might be hard to believe, but these are the same exact yellows. But look at how differently they look when placed next to different colors. This yellow is really intense next to the purple. Guess what? Yellow and purple are complementary colors, and they bring each other out. That's why. These two are the same pinks. Red and green, complementary colors. Much more contrast here. And these are just purples, but you see, this has a bit of a yellow to it, and it's much more intense. So there are variations of color, temperature, lightness or darkness, intensity, which means bright or grade, plus texture, putting it on thick or thin. It's complicated. People spend their lives learning about color, and it doesn't come easy. But what we're going to do just are a few basic exercises to get you used to applying paint and to working with mixing colors. Okay? Really simple stuff. First of all, this is how I like to set up my palette. I set it up in a kind of complementary color order, or not. I like to place the colors around in a circle and put whites around so that I can use the blank areas to do my mixing. You're definitely going to need a container of water, roll of paper towels, your basic colors, blue, red, green, yellow, and purple. If you don't have a green or a purple, you can make them from the primaries, and white. I like using this. This is a mixer. It's called retarder. It makes the colors slow down on their drying ability and keeps them wetter longer. Or you can even use a gloss. Okay? So what I did right here is make up my little color palette, and I put the retarder paint in it, and I have a very nice bit of color here. I'm going to give you two exercises. The first is going to be really simple. The second is a little more complicated, and it has to do with complementary colors to get you used to the amount of color you can get just from mixing two opposites and white. So the first thing I would like you to do is to get a piece of paper, regular paper, any size, and just play with applying paint. Really easy. What's it like? Oh, and I have my three brushes, sorry. I have a large, a medium, and a small. Okay? I just want you to play on this board with your color. What's it like to put a thin line down? What's it like to put a thicker line down? What happens when you blend the two? I'd like you to spend at least 20 minutes making a mess, enjoying it. I find after I put a color down, I have to thoroughly clean my brush and dry it so that the color doesn't stay on it and I don't get another color dirty with it. Let's say I want to, whoopsie, look what I did. I made a boo-boo. I made a bad mistake here. I really need, and you have to clean your water often. If you don't clean your water often, you're going to have a problem. So I'm going to put some yellow down, see how that goes on. And then I might want to see, gee, what's going to happen if I take the yellow and I blend it? Wow, really cool. Into the blue, okay? I want you to just play with the idea of applying color. And maybe I want to put my paint on thicker on the edge. Over here, I might want to put some thinner glaze colors in the middle. Basically, you have to get used to working with your brush. And you can hold your brush different ways, like you would hold a pen, or you can hold a brush like this. And you can just glide. See, I always think of it as my own skating rink. Okay? It's where I get to do whatever I want, and chances are I won't get arrested because I'm doing what I want innocently on a piece of paper with color. And you can use your imagination and do whatever you want on it. So, you should spend at least 15-20 minutes on a piece of white paper just playing with the color application. You might also see what's it like to get a clean line. If you want to get a clean edge, it's usually a good idea to load your brush up. A lot of color and you can get a pretty clean edge rather than that white stuff. So if I go back over this white stuff with the edge, I get a cleaner line. Okay? So that's what I'd like you to do for about 20 minutes. Just get used to working with different amounts of paint and water and play with the colors. Okay, so after you play with just throwing paint on paper for a while, you're going to start working towards your first project, which will, one, give you an idea of mixing colors, and two, help you to get used to painting itself. It's an exercise. And what it is a complementary color exercise. You're going to create a design on your canvas board. You're going to divide the canvas into 3 different even sections, okay? And make a random design. Simply random design in each of the sections. You can use lines, you can use circles, you can use whatever you wish, but you must get at least 13 to 15 closed shapes, sections that you can paint. For instance, if I were to count the sections here, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. 21 closed sections that I'm going to paint, each a different tone. Here, I think there might be fewer. That's a section. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. A lot here. And in each section, you're going to use 2 complementaries and white, and that's it. So here is an example of somebody working simply with blue, its complement orange, and white. Limited to those 3 colors, you can mix up an infinite variety of tone. And in each of these sections, so let's say in this section I want to do blue, orange, and white. Each section has to be a slightly different color. And that's what you see here. This was really very nicely done. And each section, well, maybe that's a little similar, but pretty much each section is different. It all varies with the amount of color you put in. Maybe a little more blue, maybe a little more orange, maybe a little more white. Okay, so I have gone to a fresh piece of palette paper, which is a really good idea. I put down 2 complementary colors, remember, from the color wheel, blue and orange, and I put down some white. And this is where I'm going to do my mixing. I'm going to remember to put some of the retarder in each of the colors because it'll keep it nice and moist. And Again, I work always with the paper towel. You will get dirty. I get dirty all the time. And here's my white. Okay, got to keep wiping it, keeping it clean. And here's my blue. Okay, so I have my two complements and a white. What I am going to do is simply choose one of these sections, a random pattern, and perhaps I'll start out with this section right here. And I'm going to simply mix up colors and get different colors. Now I'm allowed to put down one color in each section, so I can't repeat. So let's say I want to go straight for an orange. All right, I'll go straight for an orange in here. Here's my one color. And I'm putting it on. Not too thick, not too thin. I want to keep it to be one color. So, you're going to practice, how do I get a straight line? How do I get a straight edge? You're going to be practicing that. Try to stay within the lines. Try to eliminate these little white spots. And you do that by going over. I went over the line a bit. Ooh, made a mistake, but I'll fix that. Because what I'll do is make this section just a little bit thicker. Okay, so I'll fix that. I'll do that. And there we go. So I have one color. Okay. Pretty easy. Okay, so I'll let that dry. Now what I want to do, I don't like the way that came out. Okay, so I remember I made a little mistake going out of the line. What I did was wipe it down and repaint it here with just another color. I'd simply mix the red and, the orange and the white. Okay. Now I'm going to see what happens when I mix up. What happens when I mix up a little bit of the blue and the orange? Wow, I get that cool color. So now here's another color I can put down, and maybe I'll go over here and fill in that space. I didn't know I can get that color. It's a really cool color. Okay. Now, when it dries, I can let it dry and get rid of the streaks if I want, or I can work with the streaks and make them look kind of nice within the spot. Something like that. This is kind of cool. All right, I'm going to go for another color. Now, maybe I want to use simply, again, I'm washing my brush a lot. Maybe now, I think I might want to take some of this white and go over to the blue. And I'll put a straight blue in there. Maybe I'll put a straight blue right here. So now I have this, another tone. I have that tiny little piece right in there. Okay. All right. Now, I might want to take this orange and blue that I mixed up just now and add some more blue to it and change that just a bit. Wow, look what that does. And put a different tone right here. And this I'm putting on a lot lighter. That's up to me. You can put it on thick or thin. Okay, there I am so far. Now there's a little section in there, so I'm going to go to my small brush, and I think I would want that little section between the two blues to really pop out a lot. So I think what I'll do is see what happens if I can't put the same orange, but maybe I'll put a tone in between these two, right in here. and see how that'll work. Oh, that looks pretty cool. And what you wind up getting are a whole bunch of paints that are slightly different tones. Okay, I'm going to fix this up. You can always go back to something if you don't like the way the line is. This paint dries pretty quickly. Go back. I'm not happy with this little white dot here, and I'm going to fix it. Hey, maybe I'll do a blend. I can do that too. I can blend it up and fix it like that and fix it like that. Okay. And I can maybe do a blend in through here. Fix it like that and fix it like that. In fact, that's what this painting is about. This painting is simply blue, orange, and white, and I blended all the shapes within, which is fine also. The whole idea is to constantly mix different colors to get a variety of tone. And believe me, you can get a ton of tone. You might have to move around to a different section, let this dry before you put your next color on. So the variations are, they're really infinite. You can take a little bit of this, and now maybe I'll want just a little bit of the blue and the red, just a little bit of it. I'm sorry, orange. Okay, now that's another tone. That's a different tone right there. Okay, and maybe I'll add some white to it. And there I have a totally different gray. Maybe I'll put that gray. It's a totally different gray right here in the middle. The point is for you to experiment with the amount of color that simply two opposites and a white could make. And I think this time, this is going on very thinly. I'm going to leave it thin and see how I like that. Okay? And that's what you want to come out with. Sometimes it's easier to paint these on larger canvases. And I might decide to leave the different tones within there. Whoops, I made a mistake. I went out. So if you go out, simply try to wipe it off. And then maybe make that line a little thicker. What this person did, he had raggy edges, so he took a magic marker when it was all finished and outlined all the shapes, and that looked great. And I'll just play with this a little bit more, and I think I'll vary the tone within it. What the heck. But I want to get rid of those white spots. These spots right here, so you go over it again. Listen, it might be frustrating. Just do your best on it. It's not easy to paint. You know, you might think it's easy if you go to that Penwas palette, because they give you some wine and they tell you exactly what to do, and you're drinking, so it might seem really easy. But honestly, it's not so easy to paint. So that's the idea. Now I want to find different tones from the same three colors, orange, blue, and white, over and over. And believe me, it's possible. And then maybe I'll get a really light blue and a really light orange, and I'll get a different tone. I'll put more blue in it. Okay? And I might put that over here. So the colors go on and on and on and on and on. Just simply from two opposite colors and white. Or I can put this on thicker, whichever I wish. This could be red, green, and white. This could be yellow and purple and white. I had to make this orange. I didn't have orange. I used yellow and red. You can make your purple if you don't have it. That would be blue and red. So this is the idea, to practice getting all sorts of color tones. If you want to get fancy with it, go right ahead. You can make the shapes move forward, backwards, and forwards. I mean, I can shade within these if I want. If I want to get fancy with this, I can simply put a little more white in here, and I can make it look as if it's bulging out a bit. Okay?